Okay guys, so moving on with our Premiere Pro Masterclass, we're now going to be taking a look at how to create a basic color correction, and this is going to serve as kind of like a little mini example, except I'm not going to officially title it mini example, but the reason I say it's going to serve the purpose of a mini example is because you guys can go to resources right now and actually download this exact clip that I'm going to be working through, and we are going to together have a look at the process behind actually bringing its correction, or color correcting it rather, to be same color scheme and overall the same kind of visual representation that this second shot is going to give us, and I'll show you that. So if we look at this second shot, it's far more natural colors. The colors actually look like the environment that you would think this is shot in, some sort of forest or something like that, right? The colors represent those of other colors you've seen in similar environments, and overall don't look as fake. This one right here definitely looks like it's very bright in my face and overall on my hands right there, meaning that clearly the highlights or something here has been turned up, and overall we want to try bring this image quality here to be that of a similar color scheme to our second clip, which is going to play right here, which looks so much more natural, so much nicer. And then we could even take this clip, once we've gone through the basics of actually color correcting this, we can now in the next following step move on to color grading this to not only correct these colors to bring them down to reality, but to improve them to make them next level after we've actually brought this down to be a similar color pattern and a similar color scheme to that of the related clips to it. Because remember, I told you to just pretend like this clip here would be the clip that would follow in the video that this would be based in, meaning that we obviously couldn't have a clip that's this kind of blue, this far different color scheme to the one that would follow next. It just clearly wouldn't be in the same even selection of clips. So what we would actually do is, once you guys have downloaded it and imported it to Adobe Premiere Pro, the process I would personally go about doing this is, of course, we come over here to our color tab. So let's say we were in the editing, we've imported our clip right here, we come up to color, and when we come to color, you guys will be greeted with these 6 tabs right here: the basic correction, the creative, the curves, color wheels, HSL, secondary, and the vignette. So the one that I want you guys to direct your attention to is basic correction. And when we pop up here, don't be too worried about anything like the input LUT. Don't be worried about all this stuff. The one I want you guys to focus on is the temperature. And that is the process that I would personally originally go through if I'm looking at either 2 clips from a different camera or 2 clips that are meant to be in the same scene that I shot maybe at different times of day. And overall, what I would want to do is keep these clips next to each other. For example, the clip that currently doesn't look how I want it and the clip that does look how I want it, so I have a reference. And then I would simply start messing with the temperature and then moving on to later some of the stuff down here in the tone section. But first off, I would start messing with that temperature to start bringing it closer to that of the clip that I wanted to actually replicate the color scheme of. So if we go back over to this one, obviously this one here is looking much more orange and much more bright. So we would probably start bringing our temperature up towards this right hand side, but obviously on this clip here. And you can see if we do start dragging this up, we are bringing those colors even more to reality. So I want you guys to do that exactly what I've just done, is drag that temperature from 0 where it would have been, and you can see how much of a change it really makes when we bring that back down, and actually just go ahead and start bringing that all the way up to 100 on the temperature scale. And we can already see that when it changes here, it is looking much more similar over here to this one here. Even though this one here clearly still has a little bit more of a highlighted kind of reflective hand. I believe if we go to this one is a little bit more neutral. Yep, it's definitely a little bit more neutral here, meaning that we still need to do a couple tweaks to bring this guy down to reality. And the next thing I want to focus your attention on, guys, is let's just start bringing these whites down. Now, the whites are, of course, the brightness in this image, and the blacks represent the darkness in this image. So if we were to actually bring those darks down, we are increasing the blackness. But if we were to bring those up, we are making it more kind of like a fade to film. But let's undo that black. And it's essentially the same concept when we mess with the whites. So if we start bringing those whites down, you can see this hand right here, which if we bring those back up, you can see it's very glowing. And if we bring that all the way back down, you can see we've actually kind of neutralized this image a bit more and taken down the fact that it is kind of highlighted here and almost glowing off of my hand, and that's overexposed. And if we actually bring these whites down, we are neutralizing those colors there and overall neutralizing the reflectiveness of that, and just creating this color scheme to be that of a neutral color scheme. And if we were to give this a play right now, this is looking far more towards the second image that we're about to play here than it was at first, obviously. And as you can see, I think we've done a good job now so far of actually bringing those colors so that they are quite similar to each other, in fact. And I think we've brought that back down to a normal color scheme, and these are now sharing the same color scheme, meaning that they are color corrected. Color corrected, people. That right there is a explanation and a hands-on example of color correction, okay? Honestly, I just really felt I should emphasize the difference between color correction and color grading and give you guys a very practical hands-on example here to begin this section, just based on the fact that I've been editing for years and only just in the past year or so has started to come to the understanding of color correction and color grading and the two vastly different purposes they both serve. But, you know, enough talk from me now. I've showed you guys this example. Hopefully, if you work through this with me, you will have a hands down exactly the same example as me that we have just color corrected together using the Lumetri color panel and the basic correction tab in the Lumetri color panel. And without further ado, guys, let's move on to a basic color grading and how we can level up this image that we're dealing with here even more than we've already done by bringing it down to a nicer color scheme than the one it originally had.